Welcome to EcoCard Solution. This video training will cover on creating a new Smart GL form. Alright, to create this new Smart GL form, go to Setup Designer, Smart GL Form Designer, and click Create Smart Form, Smart GL Form. Now you will be prompted with the several information or quite a lot of information. Well, you don't need to look at the template. Template here covers in the earlier training video, so we will not cover into here. Basically, you can download from our existing template and start modifying from our existing template so that you don't have to define them all over again. It makes your life easier. So, but we're not going to cover that. We're going to cover creating a new template that is by your own. All right. So first of all, you need to give a unique identifier. Okay, you need to give your own identifier for that. I'm going to take an example, a simple example: expenses. So for expenses, okay, you can choose any one of them, or can leave it blank. It is okay. This is for our future use. All right. And for this, you can choose the type of posting you want to make. You can use journal entry method, okay, for your expenses, or you can use a general payment. So you have to choose what is appropriate. So if you choose a journal entry, then it will be then you have to do a debit credit over here, okay. So general payment, then you'll be just choose the bank and then post accordingly. So I'll just show you some examples later on. Now, let me proceed with this. Now, you need to give a name, a nice name for this, so that when the users choose the form, then they know what form to choose. Okay, general payment for expenses. So you can find easily when you give a good name over here. Now, I'm going to give a very simple example. Okay, first of all, expenses, you need to capture the date. Okay, so for date, I'm going to give ID. Okay, data type is date. Okay, and the length is 10. All right, default is 10. You should keep 10 if one it doesn't make a lot of difference. And the control type, I'm going to give text. I'm going to give you I'm going to demonstrate to you the difference between the text and the date. Okay, now a drop down means that the input will be controlled by this drop down, something like similar to this. Okay, but for date we don't want to use that. We want to use text. Then give a nice name to this. Please enter, okay, the help message, the expenses transaction date. All right, so let's save this, okay, as an example. When I save this, I go back to my Smart GL form and I choose expenses. Okay, I choose this. The system will prompt you with a date. Okay, when you type 0101, okay, and press tab, you find that it doesn't do any conversion, automatic conversion for you. The system does not recognize this as a date. Okay, if you try to save it, the system will inform you that there is an error over there. Okay, so for this case, what you need to do is this. So I've just created a date input. Now you need to key in another information which is called the amount. Okay, to capture the amount, go back to the setup, okay, designer, Smart GL Form Designer, and edit back this again, and introduce a new input field. Okay, this section basically defines the input for the user that needs a key in amount. So I give an ID called AMT. Right, the data type is actually money or number. You can choose a number, it doesn't matter. Okay, and I'm going to accept 10 digit. Okay, and followed by okay, this one I want to use a text. For money, it's always in text format. Okay, so for date, now I'm going to change this to date. I'm no longer going to use text anymore, and we see the effect of it. Okay, so over here, please enter the transaction date. So this would be very helpful to you, okay, later on. Now let me save this, and you see the effect of these changes. So when I hit tab, now I have two information to key in. One is the date, another one is the amount. Now you notice that the description here changes accordingly when you change to different fields. Okay, it explains to you the field what it means. All right. So now I type 0101. The system will automatically convert the date for me to a with a delimited by a slash followed by the year appending to the last four digit. Okay, so now this is not the end of the work. You still need to define more. Okay, you have basically defined the input area, that is the capturing of the information. All right, but you have not defined how to post into the accounting entry. Okay, so now I'm going to go back, okay, and edit back the Smart Geoform again. Now I have defined this already. Next, for the rules, you can just ignore that. That is for the advanced feature. Now, so I've defined a date and amount. Now, if you look at this screen, okay, this looks very similar to the normal journal entry and payment and receipt. These last two rows are meant for payment and receipt transactions. Okay, so and this is where your journal entry will be. Okay, so now let me try to build the rules for this. Okay, so for date, I would say, oh sorry, so I'm going to have the date as dt. Okay, when you put braces, okay, between before and after here, the system knows that I'm supposed to pick the value that you key in this location and place it over here. Okay, so and I can have description expenses, and I say that I want to do a bank. I want to credit the bank. The bank is the current account, all right, and followed by expenses. I want to choose my miscellaneous expenses. Miscellaneous expenses, yeah, okay. So I'm going to have entertainment expenses, okay. So I can set TX here immediately, all right. That means every time when I use this form, the system will post a TX text code for it. In this case, we are not going to do that. We're going to use, we're going to leave it blank because we're trying to keep it simple. So in this case, I would have to debit my amount. Okay, I will indicate my amount input is in this location, which is here. Okay, so I would debit this amount, credit to this bank account. So the definition is completed. I'll show you a more sophisticated, more flexible way of doing things. Okay, and then moving on from there, you can actually define a more sophisticated forms. Okay, so I'm done. The rules are done. Okay, everything you can actually start using this form. Okay, so now I'm going back to Smart Geoform. I'm going to retrieve the form back. Okay, and when I retrieve the form, I indicate that I'm not going to use any image. All right, and I'm going to type 0101 followed by 1000. Okay, when I do that, I want to see the journal entry. Go down. Okay, you see that there's 1000 here. Entertainment expenses. Okay, and this is the account. So when you save it, it will go into this respective account. I will credit my bank current account. Okay, 4200. All right. So let's say I save this, and it's done. And I go back and check my journal entry. Okay, there you go. Well, I have a earlier transaction that I didn't clear. That's why you can see this earlier transaction over here. So let me go back and create another transaction again, just to show you the effect. expenses. Okay, and 02, 01, 2000. Okay, so I'm going to save this, make sure stop this, save it, done. Come back to this one, find the journal transaction. You'll see that these transactions been created now. Okay, so this is how you use general, create a new form. Now, this is not the end of the story. You can actually have a more sophisticated form. You can do things like this. You can say my amount to be displayed next to the expenses over here, and my amount to be displayed over here too. Okay, or I can introduce a new field called image number. Okay, img number. All right, data type is text. Okay, or you can do string, doesn't matter. And then I use 20 characters, and I say text here. Please enter the image number. So now I've got 3 input fields, and I have 3 input fields. I can say that I want to change this to image number. Okay, and I want to use this image number. Why do you need this? It's because in the future, when you want to find back the image, okay, then you can search for it. So it becomes very easy for you to find back the image and the respective transaction where it was posted to. Okay, so now once you're done that, okay, you can save it. Before that, I would just want to show to you. Actually, you can do things like this. Okay, amount or multiply by twice. You can do mathematical computation over here. Okay, you can define anything you want to, or you can do things like this. Amount 2 times. All right. So I'll just show you an example. Just times by 2. Okay. So this is what the system can do, and I save this. Now I'll go back to my image geoform. I stop my processing. Okay, go back to my expenses. Okay, and I choose the date. Now you can see the image number is here. Okay, I can choose my date 0301. Okay, now it's the 3000. Okay, and I would have MG image number 1. If I look at the details of the entries, you'll find that my IM number 1, which I key in over here, is appended at the expenses description. Okay, and my amount is actually 6,000 instead of 2,000 or 3,000. Okay, so you can do computation by using a formula approach. Okay, this is very similar to your Excel. All right, so yeah, this is, you can use plus, y, and etc. Okay, so you could do things like this too. Controlling the precedence of computation, you can have, let's say, plus, okay, then divided by 100, that kind of thing. Okay, so this will actually determine the precedence of computation precedence. Okay, so if you're familiar with Excel, okay, then you'll understand